Following the era of the patriarchs, God's chosen family settles in Egypt. As generations pass, they find themselves trapped under the weight of severe and brutal slavery. Yet when God finally begins to rescue them from their slavery, they cling to the very masters who enslaved them. Why would a nation begging for deliverance suddenly fight against their own freedom? To understand why the Israelites fought against their own freedom, we have to look at what their captors had become to them. In this video, you will see how the Israelites grew accustomed to living as slaves to the Egyptians. Through their struggle, God begins to train his people to trust in him rather than their Egyptian masters. The Exodus period begins when the sons of Israel are settled in the land of Egypt. Generations pass, Israel and his sons die, but their families multiply exceedingly. As they remain in Egypt, they grow dangerously comfortable with the food, shelter, and security the pagan empire provides. But soon, a new pharaoh arises, one who knows nothing of Joseph's legacy. He said to his people, "Look, the Israelite people are more numerous and more powerful than we. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, or they will increase, and in the event of war, join our enemies and fight against us and escape from the land." Therefore they set taskmasters over them to oppress them with forced labor. So why didn't a population that large and powerful fight back or flee the moment taskmasters were placed over them? To understand why they chose the misery of slavery over the risk of freedom, we have to look deeper into what Egypt had actually become to them, a reality that will only be fully exposed as God begins his work to free them. But before deliverance comes, their enslavement becomes much worse. Despite Pharaoh's effort to reduce the Israelite population, they multiply even more. As the Israelites grow in number, Pharaoh grows more fearful, and his cruelty intensifies. The empire the Israelites relied on doesn't just make their lives hard, but now Pharaoh begins to take their life. Then Pharaoh commanded all his people, "Every boy that is born to the Hebrews you shall throw into the Nile, but you shall let every girl live." In this darkness, God is working behind the scenes to raise his people out of slavery and into freedom. He begins by raising the mother of Moses out of the slavery of fear. When she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and plastered it with bitumen and pitch. She put the child in it and placed it among the reeds on the bank of the river. While others fell to despondency, the mother of Moses hopes against all odds that God would protect her son. She acts to preserve his life, and in this blind act of trust, God proves that trusting in him is the true path to freedom and life. Through this trust, the life of Moses is spared, and freedom will come. The daughter of Pharaoh saw the basket among the reeds and sent her maid to bring it. When she opened it, she saw the child. He was crying, and she took pity on him. "This must be one of the Hebrews' children," she said, and she took him as her son. She named him Moses, because she said, "I drew him out of the water." Even the name he was given points to this ultimate freedom. What could the name of Moses have to do with this freedom? The very name of Moses means drawn up from. This is precisely what God was going to do to his people. As they learned to trust in him, he would draw them up from the pits of slavery and into freedom. But are the rest of God's chosen people ready to choose trust, freedom, and life, or will they reject it and cling to their false security? Moses grows up, and God appoints him to lead his people out of slavery and into the promised land. Appearing to Moses in the burning bush, God makes his intentions explicitly clear. Then the Lord said, I have observed the misery of my people who are in Egypt, and I have come down to deliver them from the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land to a good and broad land, a land flowing with milk and honey. But when Moses and Aaron confront Pharaoh, conditions only worsen. Pharaoh demands the exact same quota of bricks, but refuses to provide the straw. Notice what the Israelites do next. They don't cry out to God for deliverance. They run straight back to their abuser. Then the Israelite supervisors came and cried to Pharaoh, Why do you treat your servants like this? No straw is given to your servants, yet they say to us, Make bricks. When Pharaoh ruthlessly turns them away, they don't turn on him. They turn on Moses. They are terrified that Moses has ruined their fragile peace with the empire, crying out, You have brought us into bad odor with Pharaoh. When Moses tries to reassure them with God's promise of freedom, the text reveals just how deep their internal chains go. Moses spoke thus to the Israelites, but they would not listen to Moses because of their broken spirit and their cruel slavery. This brings us to the main question. Why would a nation, enduring the murder of their children, actively fight against their own rescue? Israel's total rejection of freedom proves that Egypt had become an idol for them. The Egyptians offered a fragile, disordered sense of security. By remaining Pharaoh's servants, they at least had their most basic needs for life met: food and shelter. Believing life was impossible without the empire, they became slaves to the fear of losing the little they did have. They preferred the miserable certainty of slavery over the terrifying risk of freedom. In our own lives, we often think that freedom means doing whatever we want, whenever we want, just to satisfy a fleeting desire or quell a deep fear. But instead of finding true life, we find ourselves enslaved to the very idols we sought freedom in. Little by little, this false sense of security drains life from us, and instead we find ourselves trapped in fear and addiction. The Israelites traded God and his promises given to Abraham for an empire that enslaved them. But God does not abandon them. He will step in with a mighty hand to prove that idols of false security enslave us, while trusting him frees us. So hit subscribe so you don't miss our next episode, where God unleashes 10 devastating plagues to systematically dismantle every false god Egypt trusts in, proving once and for all who holds true power.